The wall is Detroit.
Detroit.
It is invading you with cellular truth. The sail is a grid, it bites. It tastes of Rhine. The Rhine is a tether, the tether is a word. The word is a prayer, it does not know itself. The Rhine is knowledge, it knows the grid of your mouth. Detroit lives inside. It is solid with industry. Smog is the image of the cell, it is billboard cool.
Billboard.
We walk the High Point Casino Rift solid as your teeth. It breeds educated men and women who die at night. They live in the opening of the wall. The wall is their head in the grid of the day. They make love to its image.
They make love.
Its image is fear.
They make love to its image.
They swallow it whole. They float on the surface. They smoke traffic lights and creep into millennium high on necessity. Their memory is a wound with 40-ounce dance sobriety. It is a weapon. There's death on the political grunge of votes. Her art cafe grunge, smelling of cheap flesh and Cadillacs. Communion at 6 p.m., the altar of time. We move like snake oil rhetoric against the grid. Its texture is boxed cheese. Time card rape, it sounds like money. Chance is stuck in the mouth of the city. A holy war of blue team prisons and collages of bullet love. The holy pride of steel. Juggernaut movie-only mesh of jettison nucleus revolution. Storefront misery and little sister's grip. The knowledge of the wall like us is telephone tightrope hustle. Tricks of mythology and canned champs of quick grits and game. Hungry for mess sandwiches of luck. Chasing chance at the gold fin the Coney Island beauty of deep sleep. We wait for light. Amen. The hole in your head is Detroit a stop sign. Movement is skill and fried chance. Fast food prisons of sweat. The grid is rhyme and freeze the Mac money. Anger and rolling your pork joint boxes of meaning gleaned as paychecks. Lip wrap dances of gas spots, vanilla greens, and black muscle mysteries of veins. Requiem for needles. Fried into data brew. Lick at the bone of the grid. Wet with desire. Mickey Mouse country bars, multiple shots of rose falling through the hole of supper to engage. Pedestrian Bible thumping midnight shift screaming jeopardy at the wind. Eyes Rolodex windows of glitter. The way home is scaling a hope. The naked chest of chance, the pork pie slow wit of God. Skin is the coffin slow shaking Monday dice. Aim for the top. The sleep, benediction. Chance is the road to Nirvana. Disc jockey spunk nerves of Sunday, the playground of Jesus. Wet cup messes of five-star hotels, 10-cent orgasm of telemarketing heroes.
Only a dime.
The war roots and techno-themed landscape stage for policies of carcasses. Rusted wine on grid of the day. Images of strangled chance aborted at the mouth. Lucid! I pray to small. Lucid! I pray to small as chance.
Welcome. Thank you so much for showing this beautiful video. This opening video was created by Ascended Visions Enterprises. It features Ron Allen's poem and recording Merchant of the Open Grid. I am Owolabi Aboya today. I'm so happy to welcome you to the Ron Allen Project Presents Horizons in Poetry 2022. I'm here with my co-host, Marsha Philpott. You want to say hi to him, Marsha? We're here and we're gonna host you through this evening of poetry, sounds, themes, Detroit, and so much more. This project was a 2021 Knights Arts Challenge winner. The Ron Allen Project Presents Horizons in Poetry 2022. This project is a multimedia exhibit. You just got a taste of it, reflecting the work and art of poet, playwright, sobriety mentor, and Dharma priest, Ron Bodhidharma Allen, during the years he resided in Detroit's Cass Corridor. The exhibit will go up in the fall of 2023 at Detroit's Hannan Center. Welcome again. So happy to see your faces, your names here in this space. We talk about how Detroit is an intergenerational place. And so we're so happy and so excited to see various generations of Detroit creativity here to participate in Horizons in Poetry. Horizons in Poetry was initiated by Ron Allen, Wardell Montgomery, and John Mason in 1982 in the Cass Corridor. Shout out to the Cass Corridor. This monthly open mic series ran for over 2 decades, hosted alternatively by Ron Allen, Sharon Smith Knight, and Trinidad Sanchez. And we're excited to bring this series, which will be online every other month for this next period of time. Again, I am Owolabi Aboyade. We're gonna hear from Marsha in a little bit. We're each gonna just read a little poem, share a little bit of our work. And we want you to be thinking, if you would like to sign up for the open mic, we'll have some time for some folks after our featured poet to read some of their own work. I go by Owolabi, I go by Will C. I'm a poet, essayist, MC, also call myself a portal opener. I would like to share with you a poem, Sestina on Hemodialysis, and I'm going to put in the chat a musical project. If anyone is looking for good vibes, my latest musical project is the Mutation Mixtape. If anybody is ready to mutate at the intersection of health, justice, and identity. And I think this poem, will give you a little sense of this intersection. It's written in the form of a sestina. So you'll hear these words repeat, which I hope draws you in a little bit further. I'm a member of the Relentless Body Creative Collective, which is at the intersection of disability justice and healing justice. And this is a relatively new disability justice poem. That sound good? All right, thank you. And then after I read this poem, I'm gonna hand it off to Marsha to introduce herself creatively and personally. Sestina on Hemodialysis. The masked woman brandishes 4 needles to repeatedly stab at the vein in your arm. Excuse me, I'm sorry. You almost piss your pants during digging, dragging pain. Except your urine isn't genital. It's circulation, blood, churning, machine, ever, labor, motion. You notice her hands tremble their anxious motion. How did they let this person touch sick people with needles? So murmur a prayer in the language of blood to your guardian spirit, the one who wields armor and arms, singing sharply, patiently teaching slavers the psalm of pain. You're a veteran of liberation, tears, lymph, and piss. A poet who only paints canvas with piss because the liquids in your abdomen refuse motion unless they are coaxed by white coats and pain. Let me tell you, nothing convinces faster than 1-inch needles, except of course, it's 1 1/4 inch they're armed with. Your medicine labeled and filed down in blood. Come on, friend, don't faint at the sight of our blood. And the plantation families who trembled and pissed themselves when they saw my black arm free of chains. I make whatever motion I will. It is easier for a slave to jump through a needle than for some of these business people to feel our pains. I never would say I'm immune to pain. I am used to, however, being drained of my own blood and institutions that hover above me with needles and wishing my hands held gold. You know, piss. I mean, making it rain with a side-to-side motion, making my son's wishes come true by swishing your arm. Sometimes I wish you didn't have this throbbing left arm. It vibrates and hums, and observers expect pain, but instead they get rhythm, circulation, and motion. It's amazing what you'll do when we listen to blood. You've been sitting so long, you forgot how to piss. That's easy, Daddy. Just swing your big needle. This life was hooked up by the blood in your arm, sacrificing your piss for our schedule of pain. The weary clock faces forever with motion of used needles.
My goodness. Well, I thank you, Owolabi, for such a moving work. And I am so sure that so many, unfortunately, can identify with the life force that you have talked about in your poem. My name is Marcia Music, and I am a writer and a poet. My poems tend to be on historical subjects regarding Detroit. And I am going to read just a couple of stanzas of a piece that I wrote because I want to leave some room for the works that are going to come forth here today. Because judging by the people who are here, most of whom are my friends, isn't this wonderful? I am getting a chance to hear a lot of your work, and I want everyone who can, due to time constraints, I hope everyone who wants to will participate. I'm gonna switch screens here. This is a work that I wrote called The Valley, the Bottom, the Valley, and Hastings Street, an elegy in rhyme. And it was a piece that I was commissioned to do for the Acropolis Quintet. And I did it in collaboration with them in many performances now. And it was a chamber music work dedicated to Black Bottom. And I wrote a long lyric poem for it, but this is just a couple of stanzas. Long ago, but not forgotten, was a wondrous part of town called Black Bottom long before we came. Hastings was the avenue, jazz and gospel and the blues, nightclubs after dark in Paradise Valley. Hastings Street was live and jumping, old Black Bottom's thoroughfare, businesses and enterprise all day. In the Valley Paradise were black and tan clubs for a price, fun and frolic, dance and cabaret. In this city of the car, long before that, very far, was a land of dark and fertile soil, was a place of swamp and fog, mist and antediluvial bog. This, the place of birth of old Black Bottom. Here primordial mist and rain, verdant marsh the land became, honey locust trees, a canopy. Water from the river's rush made the flora green and lush, bottom soil black, and so the name. Near the river flowing fast betwixt here and Canada, native people dwelled there at the shore, furs and trapping near its banks. British called its name the Straits. French, though, said it this way, la de toi. So I thank you. I pulled a few stanzas from that. I think Perkinson can identify very much. That's his neighborhood that I'm talking about. And I was resident there in Lafayette Park, formerly Black Bottom there for many years. I would like to thank Miss Woods, Ruby Woods, for her invitation and asking me to participate in this really seminal work, bringing together poets of Detroit. And I would like to introduce to you a person that I have been wanting to work with for a long time now, and that is Semaj Brown. She is a wonder. She is a wonder. And I have been wanting to be in the same, breathing the same air with her for a while. And I guess that's the same as sharing the same squares here on Zoom. So I'm going to recount some of her bio for you.
And as you prepare to do that, if there's any people that would like to read in the open mic after Semaj Brown, please put your name in the chat. And then we'll get, after Semaj, after this feature performance, we'll go to the open mic.
All right. Semaj Brown is today Flint, Michigan's inaugural poet laureate. She is a thought leader and a real significant writer of words and performer of words. She received the Academy of American Poets Poet Laureate Fellow, she is, from 2021. She's an author of Bleeding Fire, Tap the Eternal Spring of Regenerative Light. She was a part of the Poetry Pod Project called P3, an interdisciplinary literary arts and science innovation. She is an essayist, columnist, university lecturer, playwright, and director of theatrical productions. Semaj Brown is a daughter of Detroit who has collaborated with some of Detroit's finest musicians and dance artists. Folks like Ross Kente, Clifford Sykes, Issa Ibramoline, Heru House, Michelle McKinney, and the late great Farouk Z. Bey. Her chief creative collaborator, her love and husband, Dr. James Brown, MD, inventor of the R balloon, which is a custom-made percussion instrument, has helped produce Semaj's debut poetry album and concert, Tongue Tied, Wave Rock, a soundtrack and art video with key cinematography by Brooklyn-based international artist Jasmine Morel, stage and essay odysseys in African-American history and culture, By Ocean, by Fire, and Mother Ocean, the buying, frying, making, baking of African-American domestic stereotypes, which was performed at Charles H. Wright Museum of African-American History, the Flint Institute of Arts, Indiana University, and University of Michigan Law School. Semaj first read her poetry live at Horizons in Poetry in 1982. Her new publication, Walking Rivers, is slated for a 2023 release. As we launch this return, we are highly honored and pleased that Semaj has come full circle back to her roots. She has never ceased to reinvent, redefine, and reinvigorate the realm of spoken word, and that is an understatement. Welcome home, Semaj Brown. And with that, I turn it over to you.
Good evening, everyone. It is so wonderful to be here. Thank you. Thank you, Ron Allen Project. Thank you, Ruby Woods. Thank you, Marsha Music. Thank you to our host that was so gracious. both of you, absolutely wonderful. And for all the people that are here attending, I'm so, so grateful that you are here. I'm going to present Mother Ocean to you this evening. And I'll present myself as well, and the Little River Girl. But let me tell you a bit about Mother Ocean, Making of a New Tribe. This piece was created as a response to the Jerry Taliaferro exhibit at the Flint Institute of Arts. It was called Women of a New Tribe. And it was absolutely extraordinary. What Jerry Taliaferro did was take pictures of Flint women, and they were in black and white, the historical, the typical 1950s Hollywood life-size pictures. And they were displayed in the gallery of the Flint Institute of Arts. So when I walked in there, it was just really awesome to see ourselves in this light, which we generally do not. And I started to feel something. And I hadn't written a poem in almost a decade. And I actually thought poetry had just gone its way. I thought it left with the death of my daughter. I said, well, she took poetry with her. I had been writing plays. I've been working in healthcare with my husband. I've been writing curriculum. So be it. I had my time with poetry, so I thought. And so I thought. So I got home, I started feeling this rumbling inside of me, like a train far away. And I called my cousin Linda and I said, Linda, I think I have a poem coming on. She said, a poem? You mean a poem like one of your poems? I said, yes, like the way I used to write. She said, okay. She said, do you have your water? I said, yes. She said, okay, I'll call you back in 2 hours. She said, just let it flow. And I said, all right. She said, what do you see? I said, I see skulls. I see an ocean. I said, it's part of our story. It's so disturbing. She said, I'll call you in 2 hours. And so this poem continued to fill my body, and out it went as I was like a scribe. That night, it continued to turn me around and dream. And in the morning, it completed itself. It had its way with me. So I called up Mama Aneb, Dr. House, and I said, I'd like to read you something. And she said, all right. Anybody knows Dr. House, you know how calm she is. She said, all right. I said, after I read, she said, Semaj, it's a gift. She said, don't be surprised. It's a gift. And I said, okay. Then the director of the FIA heard it. He said, would you present it for the gala? And I was just fresh off the page. I hadn't even typed it up. And I did. And then I was invited to the African American Museum. And then to the Flint Institute of Arts. And then they studied it at Indiana University. And so this poem at other universities has wings like an ocean. And it starts out with a little river girl. And she says, I talked to the ocean. I asked Mother Ocean, how long after Middle Passage did it take to heal your daughters? How did you shape such a beautiful, distinct creation? Mother Ocean answered in stilled serenity. It's been 400 years. I sculpted them from promise. Oh, they were complete in the beginning, throughout, and remain whole today. Their memory was stolen. Their memory was stolen, could not remember gold of Benin or family compounds, a Kabylon antiquity birthing science, could not remember Moorish Spain, Timbuktu, world center of trade and commerce and scholarship. Could not remember Queen Nzinga, Iron Forge French Quarter, or the original tongues of Fula and Yoruba. Mother Ocean, waves lifted, they fell, and she continued. I fashioned each death new, folded feminine fluid into flesh, pooling ancient memories floating in time. They were recreated from the scarring flow of centuries, formed by amniotic river, pulsing their veins. They speak the language of water now, and water is spirit, and spirit remembers. Water is spirit, and spirit remembers. I am the ocean remembering when they cannot. My daughters came to me, Mother Ocean, as cargo, chains, in death vessels that heaved frothy blood in the crest of my waves. My daughters came to me, Mother Ocean, shredding skin, decomposing wounds, fodder for sea monsters and new world rapists. Millions and millions and millions and millions and collapsed in the inconceivable lap of violating current, descended to maritime grave, asphyxiated by the horror of what was yet to suffer. But on my ocean floor, I rocked them in a crucible of seaweed and succor. I coddled them in the ebb of coral incantations. I washed them with those two aquatic lovers, hydrogen and oxygen. Oh yes, I cleaned. And I christened their white bone skeletons in briny blessed assurance. And as ocean, I followed that tide of dripping gore across myself. I never left my daughters. I persisted in all my forms, sometimes water vapor, whispering dignity, sometimes hailstorm, summoning the strength of Ella Baker ancestors. Mother Ocean's waves begin to swell and quake like flying blue tarpaulin, dredging sea and individual sea into her amorphous body. And again, I ask, Mother Ocean, how long did it take you to heal your daughters after Jim Crow? seems like eternity, but is just a drop. And in every drop, there exists eternity. Oh, they were always whole, even with captured memory, even with lynching, Tulsa Holocaust, extermination of their godmen husbands, mass incarceration, waterboarded psyche. They were always whole. My daughter's brains are incredible, masterful filtering systems, always filtering hope from horror, faith from fear, trauma from triumph. An anointed, amazing grace sieve, where gray matter that matters lives. These daughters of ocean, of rain and drizzle, of water cycle alchemy, ascend from the entrails of Atlantic, shooting aspirations vertical from the deep silt of sea, standing on the testament of their ancestors. They are reverse waterfalls standing erect, reverse waterfalls standing on water, standing in boardrooms, say her name, standing in courtrooms, say her name, standing in legislatures, say her name, standing in hospitals, say her name, standing on corners, say her name, standing in shelters, say her name, Sandra Bland, say her name, Breonna Taylor, say her name, standing in educational institutions, standing as artists, athletes, entrepreneurs, standing in service as secretaries and waitresses, standing in wealth and the fluids, yes, and standing in poverty, standing on her knees in poverty, in prayer, in churches, on her knees, in prayer, in mosques, standing on her knees at altars, in poverty of indigenous ritual, standing with humanity, standing up, standing up, standing up, I said standing. In Lansing capital as unlikely activists against state-sponsored poisoning of 100,000 Flint residents. Grandmothers and grandchildren standing. Mother of Eden. Original prototype with opaque skin, with eyes of stained glass wisdom and legacy washed hair, gravity defying hair, hair stretching towards Sirius B star heaven hair, celestial strands. I tell you, water is spirit. And spirit remembers. Water is spirit, and spirit remembers. Call it our ocean intuition. Call it grit. Call it grit. Call it Holy Ghost. Oh, call it Holy Ghost. Call it ancestral angel fire. How else can you explain these hidden figures? Female frequency sculpting formation with water pick chisel. How else can you explain a Nina Simone, an Oprah, Dr. Jemison, Dr. Gloria House, Mother James, General Harriet Tubman, and 50 fantabulous women who represent constellations of supernova stars who became this tribe of women who are the women of a new tribe.
Semaj is doing a brief prop change.
Well, that was pretty stupendous. Semaj is a real word warrior and such a performer of her own works. I can see why she has emerged in Flint as its poet laureate, because of her ability to bring forth the word as it is. And one of the things about this one, I like to believe that she did perform this particular poem for my benefit, because I heard her perform this before and I was so stunned by it. I told her I would love to hear it again sometime, and that was maybe a year or more ago. And so perhaps she remembered that request, because I just thought it was really amazing, evoking the Middle Passage, evoking the issues of enslavement and of generational trauma and all of these things. I would like to talk about the people that we have coming up. We have those of you that are on Stack. Let's see. We're going.
4 people.
I'm sorry, we have 4.
We have 4 people, yes. And if
Okay.
anyone else would like to sign up for the open mic, it is not too late. There are a few more spaces if you haven't signed up yet.
Yes.
Semaj is going to come back to bless us in just a few moments.
I think we would be remiss if we did not mention the poet Ron Allen, about whom this work is dedicated. He was an extraordinary poet and visionary wordsmith of the city. And this Miss Ruby Woods has pulled this iteration of this series, has pulled this together, of course, in his name. And it is just gratifying to see how many of you are still holding high the banner of poetry, of working with these words in order to express our human experience and human condition, as well as our work in Detroit. Semaj has returned and looking resplendent. And we want to thank you for such a powerful presentation that evoked so much in our American experience and the diasporic aspect of your work. So would you like to continue now? Are you ready?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I didn't want to, I wanted to let Mother Ocean be where Mother Ocean is and return to Semaj. So it's wonderful. Thank you. And I have a poem called, oh, it's over here. I'm in the wrong book, called Black Dandelion. And this poem has been selected, I'm really excited by it, to be sent throughout the United States to thousands of children, middle and high school, through the Academy of American Poets. And they'll study the poem with their teachers. And then they're going to write, it's called Dear Poet Project. And then they're going to write letters to me and to the poets who are selected. And I'll get to find out what the children, the young people are thinking about this poem. It's called Black Dandelion. Age 4, witnessed my first mow down. Twinkling ground stars cut by murderous lawnmower, feeling the blade. I fell, curled like a snail in grief. 12 moons folded into spring. Perennial promises prevailed. Bees, oh, the bees celebrated the return of the dandelions in a skirt of twirling yellow bliss. Flowering bouffants mirrored my spiky little afro. Jagged edge lion's tooth leaves paid tribute to my snaggletooth smile. Me and my freedom fighting flowers frolicked to survive the scissoring, the updigging, the poisoning. Warning signs hovered like low-hanging clouds. No blooming allowed. Blossoms will be prosecuted. These brave plants, they grew just for me. Grew in spite of a society that favored a monochromatic landscape. 1965. Mr. Brother Malcolm X was assassinated. Big word for a pre-kindergartner. I was convinced he must have been a dandelion. Reverend King too. And the Johnson boy who lived one turn down the street that way. The Johnson boy was shot by the police for growing in a monochromatic landscape. Training wheels off. Bike riding across insecure cement. I pedaled the bumpy path, waving solidarity to each surviving sunburst noggin, each fulfilling the promise to ornament lawns and flourish souls with lemon drop hope. Dandelions bear art of endurance and escape, transforming into pearl puffs, floating with ephemeral attention, carrying the spirit of the weed. 13 moons faded into July. I am a proud weed. Yes, I declared that shocking proclamation standing in the pulpit on Youth Sunday at Vernon Chapel AME Church. I added to my speech on David and Goliath my impromptu improvisation of dandelion dogma We are black dandelions, I said, who will never be destroyed. We grow the power of goodness for generations into the future. I yet remember the framed faces of the pious, the amused, and the mortified. So that's Black Dandelion. I think my time is almost up. And I'm going to end with just this quick one. Thank you. With this quick, among the people of the tongue, oh, among the people of the pierced tongue, among the people of the tongue pierced, among the people of the tongue pierced tongue, among the people of the tongue pierced tongue, among the people of the tongue pierced tongue pierced. I'm out. Thank you, Detroit.
Oh my goodness. My goodness, you are amazing. You're just amazing. Oh my goodness. I am so glad to be in this ether with you, in this proximity with you.
Grateful to be here. I don't know when I started out, did I thank anybody? I can't remember, but I meant to say thank you. Ruby Woods, thank you for inviting me. I thank Ron Allen for his great friendship. We were very dear friends. This is very emotional for me to return to this. We were the best of friends. And so this is really very special. I thank the hosts, both of you are so wonderful, absolutely, and awesome. I met you, thank you so much. And thank you, Ruby. And this is wonderful bringing this back. I really appreciate it.
My goodness, it's been an honor to be here with you and to hear your words. Thank you. Thank you. Oladri, would you head up the STAC organization?
Yes.
Thank you.
I got it. We have thanks one more time. If you look in the chat, Semaj, you'll see it's just blowing up with love and appreciation and superlatives.
Oh, thank you for telling me, because I'm going to read them all. I'm excited. So wonderful.
Yes, I know that the online thing can be quiet and you may not get, the roaring crowd, but it's happening in the chat. It's happening in the chat.
Oh, thank you for directing me, because I'm new to this and I'm just new to it all. So thank you so much.
Oh, for sure. New to it and true to it. Yes. So thank you again, Semaj, for blessing us with those pieces. We probably have room if there's one or two more people that would like to sign up. Okay, we just got one. Wait, did we? Okay, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss somebody that wanted to sign up in the chat. Okay, the first person coming to the microphone, coming to the digital microphone, his name has been mentioned once before. He was the first one to sign up. Excited to hear what he will bring. We'll allow Jim Perkinson to unmute himself and share his poem. Each poet will have approximately 5 minutes. So Jim, welcome.
All right, am I unmuted? You can hear me? Okay, just real quickly, I want to do one piece to Ron that goes back to 2010. Ron had tremendous influence on me, still does, in terms of both my poetry and my academic writing, never the same. And it's also worth mentioning, he presided and Semaj read at the wedding of my wife and I. Totally blew away all of our families. So it's an honor to be here. This is called Ron Allen, In His Mind, Out of Time. What is this Buddha brain funk, exploding knot of ancestral karma sex, confined to a wheelchair of time in an LA sunset, shaking the body into a delirium of the one? Big strut tongue of aboriginal polyrot riot like a rogue rhythm missile in the mouth? drum box, boom ballistic of the mind on a fever of groins and gods in the erotic lick of ticking time bombs? Tooth through the gum of commercial, biting Wall Street like a militant posse of kamikaze mosquitoes, shape-shifting cyber bullets and Google spam into Black power refusals to die in white cemeteries. This is a life torn to the bone, braided in brine of rice paddies and fragging, an elephant inside a thimble, history in a jail cell, bicameral galactic ozone caught in the synapse of Uncle Sam, dreaming Geronimo on the rise, dreaming Malcolm, dreaming Tubman under the stars with a chain-linked family under her breath. This is Eye of Iguana, looking straight through the puzzle, looking through fat dollars and chair-fried muscles and Detroit foreclosures like a midnight dream of Robert Johnson and Papa Legba, locking down the hit list of poor mamas and red brothers and Black Panthers and brown, yellow, olive tsunamis of comeuppance, looking for a White House to drown, looking for the Federal Reserve with bulge eyes and Uzis in the throat. The jujube, wump, bazam of gyrating, rhyme drooling, scat battling congas and horns, like a Nat Turner raid on the suburb, thinking Jericho walls and Canaanites. This is a parallel universe in the skillet of existence, big as a ham hock in a teacup, cracking the handle off, big like a pickle in the ear, like walrus grunt trapped in a sea urchin full of night and mountains, big like a bare butt. Osiris phallus out of its mind with Isis fevers doing time in a light bulb. Glock of grandma revenge shooting up the vein of Mississippi rivers and cotton pickers inside the sewer steam of Woodward, coming for your compromises, coming like an army of pancakes and duppies, coming with insanity in its needle. This is not the bridle of the rocking horse of tulips and cut lawns. This is not canned milk. This is 500 personas in one body, climbing inside your skin on mission to link your groin to your tongue outside the law of English and buttered muffins. This is not a death remembered, but a possession feared and wanted, like a thug spirit of the future, coming back for skull houses and splayed legs and taking no captives. Beware the blue-black vine in your teeth full of zombies and sperm. Beware the moon in your eye. Beware the swamp in your belly, writhing with turtle legs and gators and iridescent verbs, seeking a jawbone to break. Beware the breaking. Beware not breaking. Beware, beware, beware. Ron Allen is on the prowl now in the rind of time, like a lair of desire without a pelvis to grind. Beware this time around, because nirvana under this street is Ron Allen unleashed inside all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jim. Thank you so much. Ron Allen Unleashed. One of the things that's beautiful to see is all the different weaving, you know, from the open mics and the ceremonies, and how these things are continuing, you know, through creativity, but then also through being creative family together. So thank you so much, Jim. This next person, I'm so excited to hear. Let's welcome Larry Gabriel. Welcome Larry Gabriel to the spotlight.
I apologize. I'm having a little bit of trouble finding Larry. Give me just a second. There's a lot of people here.
Not a terrible problem to have. We got it.
Right?
Am I unmuted?
Yes, you
You
are.
are.
Okay. Hi, I'm Larry Gabriel. I wrote my first poem when I was 12 years old, and I haven't been writing poetry for a while, but it's just started coming to me a lot lately. I turned 69 yesterday, so it's been a while. So the
Happy
first song,
birthday.
my
Happy
first poem,
birthday.
what?
Happy birthday.
Why, thank you, thank you, thank you. The first poem I'm going to read is called Gardening. When my daughter died, I became a gardener. It was a way of nurturing life. In the intervening 29 years, there have been many lessons. Growing the big leafy plants that love the sun, raising the root vegetables, herbs, vines that need a structure to grow up on, even things that can prosper in the shade. Planting garlic and asparagus this year in order to have them next year. The best cucumber for pickling. What grows best in the spring and those that thrive late into the fall. Then there's that rosemary bush that has survived 3 Michigan winters, the same number as my sweet child. Okay. The next couple of poems I'm going to be short poems. It's a series that I call The Wisdom of the Blues, and has been bouncing around in my head for about 20 years. In fact, I even approached Ron Allen about this long time ago to kind of get a little his wisdom from his being a Buddhist and whatnot. And he told me I had to dig deeper. Anyways, this first one is called, well, what I do is I take a line from a blues song that I feel has some type of wisdom to it, and then I riff off on that. So this first one is the line from the Memphis Jug Band, Cocaine Habit Mighty Bad. Any kind of habit can go bad on you. Coffee, sugary soda, alcohol, red meat, money, power, sex. Creatures of habit will do anything to feed that hunger in the brain. Ain't nothing special about cocaine. It's like the need for speed, driving fast, faster, fastest, then you're gone. This next one, it comes from an Albert King song, I'll Play the Blues for You. The universe is made of sound. After all, it started with a bang. Music is the magic of the soul. Musicians in performance are priests addressing a congregation, uniting and moving them, pacifying their hearts and minds into a godlike image. So go on and play the blues. It's a soothing prayer, resetting wrong for righteous, then to fulfillment. And I'll do one more, and this is from a Keb Mo song. And the line is, do I look familiar in any kind of way? It depends on the perspective. This side, that side, 180 or even 360 degrees. How many degrees emanate in all directions from a dot? How long have you been gone? How much have you changed on the inside? What's the lean of your walk, the lilt of your talk, the length of your hair, the cut of your clothes? No one can entirely change their ways. I'm sitting at the bar just looking, trying to figure it out. Yet nothing occurs to me, but give me another drink. I know I've seen you somewhere before. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Larry. Thank you so much. I love the influence and the confluence of the music and the poetry that we have going on tonight. The next person to read, we've been thanking her all evening. She personally invited me to be a part of the evening and has pulled together so many things for this Ron Allen series and for us all to be here. So I'm very excited to present one of the masterminds and co-creators of this project, of this evening, of this blessed night. Calling up next to the spotlight, please give a warm welcome to Ruby Woods. You're on mute though.
Thank you all. I thought there was one before me, and I was really hoping not to read tonight, but I will. I will rise. So I'm going to read something I call Ode to a Sitting President. At church yesterday, after service, we got into a little bit of a discussion about the state of things politically, and I was one of those mamas for Obama, and because of the state of the world and the things that he had to deal with, I'm still a mama for Obama. And at that time, I wrote Ode to a Sitting President. Across the Middle Passage, across the abysmal wound, cut and recut by slave ship after slave ship after slave ship, a gaping hole festering. The suppuration hangs. Centuries of brine, eternal waves, and oceanic currents have not cleansed the purulence. Until now, a myriad ghosts singing, haunting the waters, singing, an ancient choral witness, ceaseless in their moans, calling forth the one, tireless in the knowing that all things come aright. And the healing is not swift. He had to come out of Africa, out of America, reared on Hawaiian soil, nurtured in Indonesian mud holes, chasing lizards and chickens. He learned to speak English, Indonesian, Hawaiian, Luo. He learned to speak his heart. He learned right from wrong. Black, white, and brown people in his world shaped his world, his sensibilities, and his measure of justice. He won the hearts of Americans. He won the hearts of the world, from Africa to Asia, from Europe to Australia, to the Middle East and beyond. He was elected. The entire global community and legions of ancestors voted. The earth laughed and wept, united in hopeful jubilation. He must have known it would not be easy. He must have known it would get ugly. He must have known they would be nasty, vicious, and rude. He must have known it would be tragic. Oh, to step into the crucible, the cauldron of sacrifice, to accept the call. Centuries of wrongs and abuses hang in the balance. We witnessed the transfiguration. We cannot take his cup. The unspeakable pain draws gaunt lies lines across his face. The healing is protracted. He, the reluctant Buddha, endures. He is the blessed one who leans toward goodness.
That's nice.
And when I was a kindergarten assistant teacher, there was I was at a charter school that had a high school and one kindergarten class, and I was the assistant teacher in the kindergarten. However, some way, somehow, I ended up opening one fall when we had the returning to school, the year beginning assembly. And I wrote this as a response to a young English teacher who would always share his words with me in the teacher's lounge. And this is Ruby's rap. Fall into the gap between the world's eyes, mind, and soul. Repent, relentless the descent. Abyss that has no end, no middle, no beginning. Out of nothing we commence, into nothing we return. We must learn to live and burn the karmic debt that we have earned. For when all is said and done, back to square one, we must turn and turn to leave our sacred traces cross the sands of earthly places, where our fellow souls remind us of the work that must be done, of the basic truth that bases the foundation of our spirit. Evolution, revolution, incarnation in the flesh. In the flash of sweet desire, we collide and thus inspire. For the dawning has awakened as we hasten toward the goal. Incoherent, we reach into spaces ripe as gold. Golden green, the light of love streams down through us from above. As above, then so below. The benevolent deliverer beckons, come and come hither and surrender. And this is a poem that is entitled Divorce, and it's about the ending of a relationship, even though I wasn't married. However, the breaking up was a divorce. There was a coming together, a questing, a struggle, then death. And now the house smells like dreams dissolving into timelessness, like footprints washed away, there are no tracks. It stinks like dead spirits colliding, like the carcass of a heart slit open and drying in the sun. The odor is like the burning flesh of a cunt longing to be desired, like menstrual blood dripping onto fresh mopped floors. It smells like old cheese, spoiled compost, like rot, decomposition, breakdown, lost ethers, broken bridges, shattered templates, split trees. The work is clear, but the worker unknown, hidden. And now there is a parting of the ways. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All the applause. Everybody's on mute, otherwise you'd hear a whole roar of applause. Thank you so much for your creativity and for pulling us all together again. We'll keep it moving with our next reader, welcoming to the spotlight, Michael Madigan.
Hello. This is a poem that Marcia knows, and in fact encouraged me to publish despite my misgivings. Thank you, Marcia. It's a poem about young Black men, and let there be no doubt that it was written by an old white man. It's called Envy. Make me the one who fell today. Unloose me from this flesh, this circumstance. Make me the one, while clocks ticked foolishly, whose profile locked me in the other's sight. The one whose shaded eyes and open stare threw only blackness back, despite the white of day, into the other's face, and tuned his ears to ancient predatory frequencies, and flared his nostrils to the restless breath of prey, and arched his spine and jacked his limbs and hands to jump without a thought, as I myself might jump to swat a fly. Make me the one who fell today, the one he, seeing me in profile, could not see. The sun whose splendor is invisible. One beautiful, bareheaded in the sun or in the camouflage of noontime shade. One beautiful when glimpsed across the 10 or 20 paces two might go to say hello. One beautiful when faced behind clear glass or sharing airspace when the glass was down. A profile that at once, to his keen look and his square shape of mind, had lines without an image, but that beauty in the world. Make me that one, that current in the pool at once abominated and desired, that he who looks in secret on my lines might try to grasp in empty handfuls in his vacant moments or his idle night, and hold as ruler to his measurements, that he who now steals glances to behold and longing for them has to turn away. Make mine above my profile that one shade that burns the whole world's deeper faculties, that even nature beaming over all the world would stop and see as beautiful. Make me the sprout that fell from that dark soil today, my soil that the one profaned when sought or imitated in my people's eyes. Make mine the gut-sensed mortal archetype, the sprinters, boxers, curves, and mystery, abounding mouth, luxurious ascent, the local wisdom, latent power, name that in its intonation spills my shade. That pigment and the arts and codes beneath, that with the lines of one imagined face completes the artist's sketch of all like me, my 40 acres of humanity. Make me the one who fell today, the one indecent, throwing shadows in the light, suspected of the crime of driving while, or of the felony of walking while, or doubtless guilty of existing while, the one across the road or in the frame of auto glass, the one advancing with bravado or replying watchfully, already in the other's songbook, dead, a cold-skinned ballad practiced day by day as one repeats the creed or breathes more deeply one's own sweeter air. Make me the one who falls today, who meets in heartbeats first the other's hard alarm, and after that, the luckless mother's child who dances now in random videos and smiles in photographs of rising life, remembering her slaps, their sting, Make these the flashing bullets, 2 and 3. Make mine the shade, the peace they try to find. And here by me, the crowded passers-by, carousing, drowning in the swirling blue, who turn and clap their ears in wonder at the loudness of my going home. Make me the wonder, make me the one in wonder going home. And mine, the knowledge at that moment of the other's hand upon the weapon and my own upon the other's beating heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael, for being heartfelt in this moment as we touch upon the spirit of Ron Allen, as we touch upon the spirit of Detroit, as we touch upon the generations and decades and years that are flowing between all of us. So thank you. Very excited for this next reader to come. I've known somewhat of her blossoming community work throughout the city, and I'm excited to see her come also and share some of her creative work as well. Rukia, will you please come to the spotlight and bless us just a little bit?
Thank you, Obalabi. Hey y'all, I'm Rukia. This is my first time doing an open mic, but I felt inclined to do one because I felt all the love and energy from such profound poets tonight. And I see a lot of family here, so I just wanted to show them a different side of me. And thank you for holding this space. I'm excited to share this poem. It's called Imagine. And while I won't give this background about my poem, I will at least say that what I enjoy most about the imagination is that it can either be perceived as something whimsical or escapism, or it can be perceived as a manifestation. But what matters most is how you, the dreamer, perceives your imagination. So imagine, I'm fast. Like the travel of time around a foreign planet, I present tomorrow before you could process the day that is. Rhythmic chants of people's passionate cries, taken to the streets in protest for peace, for power, had become the metronome to my bleeding heart, still finding the strength to keep a beat. Facing its inevitable demise, the beat becomes silent, the silence becoming as loud as a thunderous cry. Decomposing into the earth, resulting in rebirth, I manifested as a spiritual vessel to carry messages from ancestors. I began to visualize the trailblazed path of tomorrow. It greets me with whispers of uncertainties, shared between the trees, waiting to see what my next move will be. She's welcoming, trusting I'll take care this time. The sorrows of yesterday no longer feel heavy. The smells of poverty and air pollution no longer pervade the air. Those distant memories have become bubbles floating into an abyss. Ahead, I see tears withering away from the face of an immigrant mother, reunited with her family. Her tears, they weigh heavy. Her smile catches them like a basin. Curiosity of this new space creates community through collective confusion. They are free to exist as them, among others. He's helping with collective childcare, once an effeminate task. She's building, figuratively and literally. Accessibility no longer abstract, oneness. Feeling the vibrancy of colorful foods collectively cultivated, my heart smiles as I hear the plants germinate from the soil. The sun shines differently. As it rises, it no longer becomes the measure of time for the sake of capital. More compassion, less conceit, feels like a familiar fallacy held on to its fantasy. Uncertainty of this new place feels like anticipated misunderstanding. Life is my most ultimate gaslight. Bypassing my conditioned trauma, conveyed from one mama to the next. I embrace this newness, giving me the butterflies I get when I welcome a new lover. Queerness as normality, professionalism no longer a formality. Equally ourselves with respect of the next brings a new perception of nudity. Do you see its beauty? Watching the sunset, suddenly I know freedom. I sleep easy knowing no human goes without dwelling. No bounds of patriarchy, no borders to patrol, no cops to confront as we resist and they persist. Yet our persistence and resistance is what brings us here. I'm awakened by the sound of my alarm, my reminder that capitalism exists. My expediency diminishes and I'm met with reality. My need to slow down meets my desire to continuously travel to the future, where life makes sense in a cliche way. What does it mean to step into tomorrow when today has beaten you to death? Tonight, I shall travel through time once again, moving faster than you and I can comprehend.
Thank you so much, Rakia. Thank you for allowing us to travel through time with you. Speaking of travel through time, it's always great, you know, if we're in person, you always give an extra warm welcome to somebody when it's their first time at the open mic. So thank you for that. And just wanted to point out that it's full circle because we heard that Semaj's debut was at Horizons in Poetry. And so now in 2022, your debut is at this Horizons in Poetry. So who knows, like you said, who knows what the future will hold, you know what I'm saying, for you and for all of us. We have one more writer, one more speaker, one more scribe on the open mic. Please, let's give a warm, energetic, digital, cosmological welcome to Kathleen Hunt. The muting and the spotlighting may be taking a second.
Kathleen, I have sent you a request to unmute, so you should be able to unmute your microphone in the lower left with the mute button there. If you just click on it, it should unmute you.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, wonderful,
Oh,
thank you.
thank God. I lost Zoom for a minute. I was panicking. Anyway, my name's Kathleen Hunt, and I was a frequent reader and a feature poet at Horizons in Poetry. And I had something dramatic happen to me in 2010. And this is the first poem that I've been able to write since 2010. So I thought I'd share it with you. And it's also in progress. This is the first draft. This is for Horizons in Poetry, my old favorite from the 80s and 90s, and Ron Allen, my beloved friend. I lost something precious in 2010, my love and my leg. Now, life without my love is one thing, but life without my leg is another. Life from a wheelchair is typically a whole new world. The stereotypes, the physical barriers, the ignorance, people stares, the patient, kind ones, the giving ones, the understanding ones. I praise the spiritual ones who see me whole, and thus my life in 2022. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. Thank you so much. Thank you to thank you to all of the poets. We had the wide range from the first time to the Horizons veterans and everything in between. So thank you all so much. Thank you, Semaj, for blessing us with those powerful pieces.
Owolabi, it's Ruby. I see that Wardell Montgomery is on the phone. Can we see if he wants to?
Sure, we have time, and then Wardell will offer him, and then want to offer if people have questions for Semaj, or if Semaj would like has another piece would like to share. Wardell, are you available to come and share something with us? You've been voluntold.
Ruby, if Wardell,
Wardell is on the phone. The 313-821-8660. You can't unmute him though, can you?
I cannot force him to unmute. I can ask him to unmute. And I'm not sure how that works when you're on the phone, but I have sent a request a couple of times now. So Wardell, are you able to unmute? If you can, please let us know and just speak up.
I don't think he can.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think it's different when you're on the phone. When you phone in, you don't have the little button to push.
I know Wardell was one of the founders of HIP. He always has something to share. So sorry about that. Back to you, Owolabi.
Someone is saying that they think he can hit *6 on the phone to unmute.
But we have to get that message to him, and I
think he can hear us. Well, but I'm not seeing him in the list anymore. I think he might have dropped out. So I'd say for now, yeah, we'll pass it back to our hosts, and yeah, I'll continue to look for him and try to find ways to get him in if we can.
All right. Does anyone here have any questions for Semaj? Any questions after she has blessed us with those beautiful and powerful pieces?
Well, I have a question for Semaj. It's Ruby. Semaj, at what point did your poetry intersect with biology? I know that you have always been connected with spirit, but at some point the science and the physicality of our being intersected with your work.
That's a great question. You know, when I was a little girl, I had a science lab in the basement. I mean, I was really young too. They wouldn't do this now. I had all the chemicals and the microscopes and everything, and it was in my basement. I was just down there, experimenting, growing crystal gardens with my cousin. Just having a really great time. And at the same time, every other night, my mother read. One night to myself, one night to my sister, and it was poetry. Now, Broadside Press, those books, the originals like Sonia Sanchez, Don L.E., which is Haki Marabuti now, they were on the press. They were just coming out, and I was reading them, and my mother was reading them to me. And I remember we did Gwendolyn Brooks Real Cool, and I was reading something, and she said, "Now, what does that mean?" And I was little. I said, I don't know. She said, well, we're going to find out. So, you know, the dictionary was very important in my upbringing. So we would look it up and then she would say, read it like you mean it, like you know what you're saying. Now that you know what it is. And I'm just this little girl, and so I'm acting it out, right? And so I'm doing these experiments. And so I just think very early on, science and art fused in my brain. And they became expressions of the same thing. And then you know, when I went to CAS, I was in this curriculum called avocational music. So you had lots of science and art and lots of music classes. So there again, it reinforced science and art. And I'm so glad, because this is how I really view the world. They're like horses running together, you know, or horses of different colors. And why they're horses right now in my metaphor, I don't know. I'm not a rider of horses, but metaphorically I am. So I love that question, because I like, when I teach biology, for instance, the children are doing art. So let's say we're looking at the cell. And so we're making they have them make the cell. They become the cell. They become the interaction. We act it out theatrically. So all of my curriculum that I'm writing for as poet laureate right now is completely interdisciplinary. Everything is integrated. That was a great question. I love that, because you know, I like to talk about that kind of pedagogy. And I love to answer questions too. So, and because it's a way of communicating, and I've been in this house for so long, you know, so it's wonderful to have a forum to talk to people. So, hi, Jim, it's so good to see you. So, I don't know if you heard me. Thank you.
We're so glad that you love to answer questions, so that if anybody was being shy, Semaj just said, yeah, go right ahead.
Or have a conversation. I mean, it's wonderful. So I wanted to congratulate the young woman that read earlier. This was her first time reading. That was wonderful. I would put it all in the chat if I knew how. So I'll just say it out loud. So congratulations and welcome. This is it's such a beautiful place. I felt so at home. Yesterday when I was talking to Ruby, I said, it's been 20 years. And I said, wait a minute, I lost 20 years. It's been 40 years. Where did the time go to? I lost 20 years. No, it's been 40 years. So that was wonderful. And just like what Marsha Music said, I've been wanting to be engaged with her in some kind of manner. I think she's just so regal and wonderful and knowledgeable and creative. And so I'm glad to be on the screen with her in this format. I think it's the beginning. And it was so good to hear Kathleen Hunt. I don't know if you can hear me, Kathleen, but it was really great to hear your work and have you emerge after everything you've been through. Wonderful.
Semaj,
yes,
we still have a few minutes left. Do you think that you might want to give us a little short work? Do you have something ready to do that you could do?
I'm trying to, I can't see. I've done something with let me see what I can do if I can get this back to, I've got half my screen blocking everybody and trying to adjust it. I should be able to say yes, but, oh, here I am in the gallery view now. So I can see a lot of people.
Yeah.
So let's see. Well, I did this, it's nice to write simply. It's wonderful. A lot of my work is Odyssey work, but it's so wonderful to write simply. And I have this simple piece called Roar, Rhymes of Applied Rights. And let's see. And it was originally it was written for little girls, but it could be boys too, but for our children. And you know how the children do the stepping games and they jump up and down and they play hopscotch or whatever they're playing now, a lot of stepping these days. I should just think if they were saying things that would help to create appropriate barriers in their mind so at least they would know. And so while they're playing, they would say ABC. Don't touch me. 4, 5, 6. None of your tricks. 7, 8, 9. If I say no, don't cross this line. Number 2, I imitate no one. I am the sole one. I am unique. If you can't see me, then you can't see. Glasses are what you need. No means hell no. I don't care if you go. In fact, I will leave because I can do as I please because I'm free, free, free. Number 4, I'm not your honey. I'm not sticky. Just call me by my name. Respect will come more quickly. 5, violence against me, you should dread. Tables have turned. I'll leave you for dead. 4 or 6, my body is my body. My hair is my hair. My vulva is my vulva. Don't you put your hands there. 7, my chest will grow breasts, not to push up and expose. Why must I be the one to dance half naked without clothes? 8, I don't want to have children till I want to have children. If I want to have children, okay. Preconditioning, pre-programming, not here, not now, will have its way. I don't want to have a baby till it's time to have a baby. And it won't be time till I say, till I make up my mind, because my mind is my mind, is my mind, is my mind, I slay. 9, beauty is a gift given at birth. Your compliments, your approval, don't give me value or worth. 10, I am legitimate because I exist. I am valuable, the ancestors' gift. I am worthy, a girl who will build a better world for families to live fulfilled. And the last one is because I like you and you like me. You don't own me. I'm not your property. And that's raw rhymes of applied rights. And I could just see our young folk jumping and skipping and stepping to that.
You know what, Semaj, your poems have this, it's almost like you take us from birth to like old age. In every one of your poems there's this maturation of experience and sensations that you know come through your writing. But there is a question in the chat for you.
All right.
And Sonia wants to know, how did the hip dinners and the fellowship impact your work?
Thank you, Sonia. That was a great question because Sonia just wants to see me cry. You know, she's that's all. You know, your friends get on here and ask these questions. They just want to see you cry. That's all. Sonia, I'm hip to you. Yeah, but it was tremendous. Ron would cook these dinners once a month. Jim, you know, you were there. A lot of people that were there once a month. And then we would bring our poems, and it was community. And then we help clean up, and we would go around the table. Everybody would read their poem. It's called community. And Ron, that was his favorite word. He would talk about community all the time. It was such a rich community, and we moved like Sonny was part of it. We moved like particles in a cloud together. We just moved together. We were writers, we were poets, we moved together. It was fantastic. I didn't know then what I know now. It was a period of time and these things have a beginning and an end. I just thought it was going to be like this for the rest of my life. We were all going to be eating together, enjoying ourselves and moving like this. It's very special. It helped me to know what to create as I go forward, what to expect, how to give to other younger poets, how to reinforce them. I just started a program called Poets Everywhere, and I'm looking for poets in Flint that aren't traditional poets. I'm watching and listening and hearing people speak and write on the screen, on the internet. And I'm asking them, are you a poet? And it's because I can spot a poet, just in there, this is the way they turn a phrase. And this one young lady, she said, I am. She said, but I don't write anymore because, and she had a long, history. And I said, well, let's get your work out. Let's feature it. So I just think it's really important to encourage. And so I'm off from so it really taught community, to engage in that kind of rich community was wonderful.
Wow. Wow. Well, thank you so much for your contributions. I feel in awe of being here in the same space with you. Your gifts are just prodigious, and it is an honor, and it's just wonderful to be here with all of you writers. Even though some of you are just my friends from out here, and then I hear you doing this kind of work, and I'm really awed by it, because I view myself as an essayist, personally, more than a poet. And I came to poetry as a way to express difficult historical issues in a way that poetic words could provide a framework for carrying historic truths.
Yes.
And so I regard people like all of you here as, quote, real poets, and not to denigrate myself, but just to really tell you how much I admire the work that all of you do, this work with words, because words are so powerful and important. I want to, and if there's no one else on the stack, I don't think there is.
Actually, I've been back channeling with Rupiah. I think she has a quick question if we could fit her in. I apologize
Surely. Great.
Okay, let me bring her up real quick.
Great.
Thank you. So my question, I was wondering, how did you find your voice as a poet?
Oh, that's funny. Because let me tell you, I started, listen, this is gonna really be, that's really funny. Because listen, I'm in college, right? I'm at Grambling State University. I have my best friend. She's still one of my dear friends. And I'm a secret. I was a secret. I thought poetry was, I was writing secretly, and I would read these poems to her at night, and she would eat her Oreo cookies. And she would say, Semaj, you got to do something with this. I said, it's a secret. And she said, why is it a secret? I said, I don't know. I said, but it's a secret. And I'm only reading them to you. And she said, one day you're going to do something with those poems. I wrote those poems, and I would read them to her in secret. And Mother sent me a book, Nappy Edges by Ntozake Shange. Now I have been to see for Color Girls on stage. That book, I just read it and read it and read it, and I absorbed it to the pages. It just fell apart. So one day I had all this before the computer. So I had all of my poems in files, and certain poems that I couldn't figure out how to finish, I would just keep them in there. There was a poem called I Live on C Sharp, and I could never finish it. I kept trying. So I'm over my girlfriend's house one day, and they have a coffee table book, Romare Bearden and Ntozake Shange, I think, together. And I open it up, and she has a poem in there called I Live on C Sharp Avenue. I'm trying to write this poem. I'm in my early 20s. I didn't even realize that so much of her work had informed my work to the point where I'm actually trying to write the poem I had read. Who knew? Okay, after that, it kind of scared me a bit, And I said, oh, this is terrible. Then I found Jane Cortez, and I saw her in performance at the DIA. I think I'm about 24 by then, maybe. And she was so profound and so bad with her band. I said, I'm not writing anymore. I don't have anything to say. And I just shut it down and I started teaching. I said, I need to get some more experience. I don't think that's true, but this is what I did. And so then later when I returned with such fervor. It was just, and then I had working with Ferrucci Bay, Great Lake Ferrucci Bay, and so many band members and music and Ron Allen and so forth and so on. But you can see then later my influencers, the people who informed my work were Rumi, Khalil Gibran, and Pablo Neruda. So, and the early work, of course, that went into my subconscious mind was Broadside Press poets and Shakespeare. So what happened is I had a menagerie of different types of literary influences at different periods of my life that really saturated me. And all while I'm doing this, I'm writing and I'm finding my voice. My voice, so much of it is musical because of all the years that I studied music. I played the violin. So it's a process. You just hone it. You just keep, the main thing I say, what they told me, writers write.
Writers write.
Writers write. You just keep on writing and try different things, get into workshops or make up your own workshops. You might write to music. I noticed that a lot of young poets, just like I was influenced by jazz and classical European music, a lot of young poets are influenced by hip hop. So some of them are writing in a 4/4, that 4/4 meter, that 2/4, that beat. Try not to, challenge yourself to write differently. So you can have control over your craft. So you can actually set out to write what you want to write. I remember I was setting out to write a rap. It turned into an opera. I didn't have control over my craft. I was trying to write a rap, but I didn't, but it turned into opera, and it was a very good one. And it's kind of a laugh, but those were my influences, so they came out. So just keep writing. I'm so glad you are here and that you exist.
Thank you for sharing. That was very inspiring, and that spoke to me. So thanks.
Oh, good. I'm so happy. That's great.
Beautiful. Rukia, thank you for your participation and welcome into this world.
Thank you for this space. I'm delighted to be before all of you, such great poets who have been in the game for a while.
Oh, bless you, bless you. It is, it's good to know that, this work that we do is going to carry on, here in Detroit. Well, I'm going to start winding this up, and I would like to, first of all, thank all of you for your participation, even those of you who were here observing and listening. Those who did not show on the screen, thank you so much for your presence, because your numbers help it to be wonderful. And I would like to, in particular, thank the, I guess you would say, like they give a thank you for the sponsors, and we also want to, thank the Knight Foundation for the impetus to be able to do this. This whole project is a multimedia exhibit and reflecting the work and art of the poet, Ron Allen, as was said earlier. And so this event itself was made possible by the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation. And the Knight Foundation has been doing some good work seeding projects like this, worthy projects. Most of all, we want to thank Ruby Wood, who pulled this together and kind of spurred me to want to participate in this with her enthusiasm and her passion for this project. And I thank her for allowing me to be here for this one. I would mention that the next one of these events is going to be on Monday, April the 25th, from 7 to 9 p.m., like tonight's time. And the featured poet will be Sandra Staten Taiwo. And she is the Naomi Long Paget Awardee 2017 author of Broad Symphonies in a Narrow World, The Legacy of W.E.B. Du Bois. And so with that, I would like to, if I may, I don't think it was mentioned, I would like to plug my own outlet, and that is my website, Marsha Music. And it's marshamusic.wordpress.com, where all of my writings are. And Owolabi, do you have any particular outlet that you would like to promote at this moment?
Oh, thank you for asking. Mutation Mixtape, my latest album, my latest hip hop project is called the Mutation Mixtape. I'll put that in the chat as well. I just put your website in the chat for all to see, Marsha Music, wordpress.com.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been good to host with you, Marsha Music.
Bless you, bless you. It's been good to be with you. I haven't shared a stage with you in a while, but I enjoy you immensely. You know, you're such a mind, you know, and I love that, you know, and this piece that you did was just really, really stupendous. And I think it's going to really have legs too, just because of the subject matter. Semaj,
Yeah.
would you like to take us out of here?
Oh, thank you, Marsha Music. I was just going to say that if anybody wants to contact me, of course they can contact me through Sister Ruby Woods, but I'm semajbrown.com, and that's SEMAJ. And
Well,
you can contact me there, and I'm so happy again to be here and to be with all the beautiful people. This is really community, just the way Ron Allen would have it, only in a different form. This is so perfect, and I love you all, and thank you so much.
The wall is Detroit. It is invading you with cellular truth. The sail is a grid, it bites. It tastes of rhyme. The rhyme is a tether, the tether is a word. The word is a prayer, it does not know itself. The rhyme is knowledge, it knows the grid of your mouth. Detroit lives inside. It is solid with industry. Smog is the image of the cell, it is billboard cool. We walk the high point, casino rift, solid as your teeth. It breeds educated men and women who die at night. They live in the opening of the wall. The wall is their head in the grid of the day. They make love to its image. Its image is fear. They swallow it whole. They float on the surface. They smoke traffic lights and creep into millennium high on necessity. Their memory is a wound with 40-ounce dance sobriety. It is a weapon. There's death on the political grunts of boats. Her art cafe grunts, smelling of cheap flesh and Cadillacs. Communion at 6 p.m., the altar of time. We move like snake oil rhetoric against the grid. Its texture is boxed cheese. Time card rape, it sounds like money. Chance is stuck in the mouth of the city. A holy war of blue team prisons and collages of bullet love. The holy pride of steel. Juggernaut movie only mesh of jettison nucleus revolution. Storefront misery and little sister's grip. The knowledge of the wall like us is telephone tightrope hustle. Trickster mythology and canned champs of quick grits and game. Hungry for mess sandwiches of luck. Chasing chance at the gold fin, the Coney Island beauty of deep sleep. We wait for light. Amen. The hole in your head is Detroit a stop sign. Movement is skill and fried chance. Fast food prisons of sweat. The grid is rhyme and freeze the Mac money. Anger and rolling your pork joint boxes of meaning gleaned as paychecks. Lip rap, dances of gas, spots, vanilla greens, and black muscle mysteries of veins. Requiem for needles. Fried into data brew. Lick at the bone of the grid. Wet with desire. Mickey Mouse country bars, multiple shots of rolls falling through the hole of supper to engage. Pedestrian Bible thumping midnight shift screaming jeopardy at the wind. Eyes Rolodex windows of glitter. The way home is scaling a hope. The naked chest of chance, the pork pie slow wit of God. Skin is the coffin slow shaking Monday dice. Aim for the top. The sleep, benediction. Chance is the road to Nirvana. Disc jockey spunk nerves of Sunday, the playground of Jesus. Wet cup messes of five-star hotels, 10-cent orgasm of telemarketing heroes.
Only a dime.
The war roots and techno-themed landscape stage for policies of carcasses. Rusted wine on grid of the day. Images of strangled chance aborted at the mouth. Lucid!
Lucid.
I pray to small. Lucid! I pray to small gas chance.